Hey everyone, my name is Norman and welcome back to my channel. This is the first time where I'm actually talking to the camera, and it's kind of awkward, I'm not gonna lie, but I wanted to do a Fit Tip Friday every week, so this is my first one. So every week will be a different topic. It doesn't have to be necessarily an exercise move, but just common things that I hear. So today's first Fit Tip Friday topic is good old squats. I chose this topic because first I've had a lot of students come up to me after like my bar classes, my hip classes, just asking on how to do a proper squat, which is great because squats are found in almost like every kind of exercise. So like in hip classes, bar classes, CrossFit, weight training, yoga, Pilates, it's everywhere. So it's definitely a good form to get completely down. So I'm going to start, the beginning half of the video will be all technique, and then the second half I'll be talking about tips that I find very helpful and hopefully it's helpful for you guys. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. The first technique tip is your stance. So for body weight exercises, you want it just slightly wider than your shoulders, and then you want your toes facing forward or just slightly about like 5 degrees out. But for whenever you add like a barbell and you have your weights, you actually want to widen your stance so you get a bigger base because you have more weight on your shoulders. And you actually want to turn your toes out about 5 to 10, maximum 15 degrees, depending on your natural turnout. I don't recommend going past the 15 because then that's the point where you might not be able to keep your knees over your toes. So yeah, that's the first tip, your stance. Body weight is going to be slightly wider than shoulder width. For barbells or heavier weights, you want it to be a little bit bigger than that. And then you want your toes turned out just a little bit, about 5 to 10 degrees, just so you get more range of motion in your hips when you go down. Assuming that you have like a barbell or a really heavy weight. But yeah, so that is your stance. Next thing is your toes. So big thing is with your toes is, again, for body weight, straight forward or slightly, very slightly turned out. And then with the weights, you want it about 5 to 10 degrees turned out. So you guys can see that. Just because you have a wider base and you can get a bigger range of motion since you're handling a lot more weight. And like I say in all my bar classes, you always want your weight shifted on your heel, so you should be able to like wiggle your toes, whether you're in shoes or barefoot. But yeah, so that's a good little test to see if your weight. So before you even start any kind of squat, you want to shift that weight back. Next thing is your gaze. So it sounds really kind of stupid, but where you look is actually very important. So when you're doing squats of any type, either barbell or weighted, you want your gaze to be directly straight, like looking right at you guys. Or if you've got like a heavier load on your back, you want your gaze slightly upward, just so you keep that chest up. If you look down, that's going to make you want to round that back, which is going to give you lower back pains. So you want to look straight ahead. If there's a mirror in front of you, look at your gorgeous face. And then if you've got a heavier load, I always recommend looking slightly above, straight ahead, just so it reminds you to keep your chest up. So that's your gaze. Your knees, you probably always hear, don't want to go over your toes. If your weight is in your heels, it should not go over your toes. So yeah, you want it back, just like in line with your toes. And working body weight. And you also want your knees to track over your second big toe. So I never say big toe because that's still kind of a little too far in, so I always say second big toe. So you're gonna slightly think big toe over. So that's gonna keep your knees out and will prevent that from knocking in. Alrighty, so the biggest tip is your pelvis. So a lot of people say, I feel like lower back pain when they do squats, and that's pretty common, and that's usually almost always because of your pelvis. So just to get like sciencey real quick, you always, so your spine is like in a natural S shape, so the lower part of your back is called your lumbar region, and anytime you go down, so your hips and your lumbar region work together, obviously. But when you go down, your lumbar region is going to tilt forward just naturally, just because of the way your hips are moving back. So whenever I say to do squats, I always want people to engage their core first. So anytime you do a squat, you want that, I say it's a natural spine with a braced core is what your spine wants to be whenever you're doing squats. It doesn't matter if it's body weight or heavy weight, you want that natural spine with a braced core. So what I mean by that is I've had to talk to like a lot of people about this past week, because a lot of people have been feeling pain in their lower back. So before you start your descent down, I don't want you to completely tuck your pelvis, just a little shift from here to here. And what that you're doing there isn't tucking your pelvis, it's just activating your lower core. And your lower core is your back's best friend, your lower core's best friend. So they go hand in hand, so they want to support each other. So you want to activate that lower core, then make your way down. You're still gonna, so you don't want to just lead with your seat. You want to activate, then lead with your seat. And then on your way up, keep that lower core activated. But the biggest thing is activate that lower core before you even go down. So there's a big difference between just going down, leading with your seat, which is great, your seat's back, form's great, but you're a little too arched here. So what you want to do is just a little activation of the lower core, and then you go down and back up. So that is the biggest thing. You don't want to do a tuck and then go down, because then it's going to force your knees to go forward, and it's going to force your upper body to round. So if you have a heavy weight, that is very dangerous. So that's why I don't say it's like a tuck, it's more of an activation of your lower core. If you tuck and go down, you got that like C curve, and that's just really uncomfortable and honestly really dangerous for your lower back and legs in general. So that is, the pelvis is the most important part, and I feel like it's kind of overlooked when people talk about squats. We talk about like the weight in the heels and all that stuff, but that is my biggest like technique that I emphasize with my clients. And yeah, so even though you all want to engage that lower core when you go down, but you also want to engage your entire core. But the lower core is the most important during the squats. One more little technique is evenly distributing your weight in both feet when you do a squat. That sounds really stupid, but one leg is usually stronger than the other, so especially when you have a heavier set of weights, one leg will try to do more of the work, more dominant leg. So you want to make sure it's even when you go down. So be really conscious about distributing your weights evenly. And I feel like mirrors are so important when you do squats. So not only front mirrors, but it's great when gyms have side mirrors as well. But yeah, so if you ever feel like a little pain in one side over the other, that might mean that you're using one leg a little more to get up. It might not be like a drastic push, but it might just be like a little shift. I know I tend to use my right leg more, so whenever I do squats, I try to shift my weight just a little bit over to my left. But yeah, so those are your technique tips. But now we're just gonna go over like straight tips. My first one is anytime you do heavier sets of squats, you always want to warm up your body. So even though you think that squats is mainly working your legs, which it is, it's a full body exercise. So you want to warm up your entire body. So whenever I do any barbell squats, or heavier sets of squats, or any kind of leg day, I warm up my entire body. But most importantly, I warm up my back and my core. So if you ever want to see a video of my leg day warm-ups, go ahead and comment down below, and I can go ahead and record it because I love my warm-ups. I do take about 5 minutes to really properly warm up instead of going straight for those squats. Second thing is if you feel like you're not like shifted back enough in your squats, so I know people think, oh, I'm back enough, but there's still, you make sure you can use a box or a bench and just sit down, and then you'll get the feeling for how much more backwards you should be going. So that's a great way to check your form on the heels. And then, big thing is everyone is different. I'm sure you guys all know that, but your hips are all different. So everyone has different hip mobilities. So someone might be able to like go down really deep, completely fine. Some people might not be able to. So I know people like to say go as low as possible, but for some people, if their hips are not as flexible, going that low is actually going to hurt you. Because you're actually pushing beyond the point your hip can go, so then you compensate your form, especially your spine. So then the lower back pain also comes with that. So yeah, so you don't have to always go so low. So you want to go as low as you feel comfortable and just get your form down first. And then you will, as you get stronger and your hips get more flexible, you'll be able to get a little lower. Whenever you do pulses in squats, especially in the high rep classes like bar classes, sculpt classes, where there's a good amount of pulses, you never want to go pulse low. As you get stronger, you can pulse lower, but before if you don't have that core strength and that proper form, if you pulse too low, even though you don't have a heavy set of weights, you'll also hurt your back. So that if you feel like your back's starting to hurt in like the sculpt classes or the bar classes, then that means you're either pulsing too low and you're not doing that anterior pelvic tilt at the bottom because you're pulsing so much and you're getting tired and you kind of forget. So yeah, just don't pulse too low. You'll still feel it in your glutes and hamstrings and all over your legs. But yeah, don't pulse too low. Then, before you even do, another tip is before you even do any kind of heavy barbell squats, you want to strengthen your core. Because your core is going to help you stay away from that back pain and help you get a good form. And squats are actually a full body exercise. So I never have any of my clients do any barbell squats until their core, especially their lower core, is strong enough. And you can kind of tell how strong their lower core is by doing lower core exercises and like raises, reverse crunches to see if their lower back seals or if it comes off the ground. So yeah, please strengthen your core before you do any kind of heavy weighted squats. Let's see. Oh, one more thing is shoes. For heavier sets of squats, and even just like a moderate amount of weight or even body weight, your shoes actually really do matter. So if you've seen people wear Converse to the gym, it's because it's got a completely flat sole, rather than sometimes like shoes have a little a little extra at the heel. And then if you think about it, you want your weight in your heel, so if you have that higher platform in the back of your shoe, it's going to force your weight to go into your toes, so that it's going to make your form have your weight shift into your toes more. So that's why you want like a flat bottom shoe, or you can always take off your shoes, and I probably wouldn't do barefoot in the gym, but like keep your socks on, you're barefoot, you can feel the ground when you're more grounded, and you've got that flat surface of your foot, so you're not tempted to go forward in your squats. But yeah, so that was kind of a ramble. I'm sorry, this is my first video talking to you guys, but I really wanted to touch on these, especially for people who go to group classes. It's hard for the instructor to make sure everyone is doing everything correctly, and I feel like squats is so important because that's where you feel that lower back pain is the most common one, and knee pain. With any kind of squats, you should not feel any knee pain, even if you're lifting heavy, and you should not feel any back pain. So if you are, then you might want to reconsider your form just a little bit, and see. It's usually the pelvis is what I see that people kind of need to make a little shift in. It's very minor, but you have to really consciously think about it. But yeah, so that was my first Fit Friday. Hopefully it's helpful for you guys. I feel like squats are so common, but also so important to get that form down, and it's found in all formats of workouts. So yeah, I will catch you in my next video. If you guys have any requests for any topics that you would like me to talk about, you can go ahead and leave a comment. This is what I love doing, so I would love to make more videos like this. But other than that, I will be posting more exercise videos, song workouts, so yeah, just be sure to subscribe, and I will come out with more videos. Thanks guys!